A Texas Republican is facing allegations of having an inappropriate relationship with an intern. Now, this is Texas State Representative Bryan Slaton. Slaton is well known for being incredibly hard right, even in regards to Texas, and has led the charge to ban drag shows. Family-friendly drag shows, all-age drag shows, doesn't matter. Now, he claims that he's just very concerned about the sexualization of children and young people. Well, this guy, Slaton, has had a complaint filed against him with the Texas State Legislature that claims that, among other things, he invited an unnamed female intern who happens to be under the age of 21 over to his apartment on the weekend for some drinks, some alcoholic drinks. Now, as I mentioned before, she's not 21. She's not old enough to legally drink. And also, I think more importantly, she's his intern. There is a power dynamic here. Now, a complaint filed with the House General Investigating Committee by a legislative staffer and obtained by the Texas Tribune, as well as the Tribune source with direct knowledge of the incident, said that Slaton called the intern after 10 p.m. on a Friday, March 31st, and invited her to his apartment, where they, of course, were drinking. Now, I'm not naive. I'm sure you're not either. I'm sure you know that there's usually only one reason a man who was going through, by the way, divorce from his wife would invite a young female intern over to his apartment on a Friday night for drinks. It doesn't sound like a couple of old friends sharing a beer. I'm just saying. Which, of course, explains why, according to the complaint, Slaton allegedly tried to cover the entire thing up. According to allegations in the complaint obtained by the Tribune, Slaton later showed that intern fake emails that claimed to have information about the incident in an apparent loyalty test. Weird. And told her not to tell anyone about the incident. Hey, you know the friendly drinks that we had over at my apartment? You know, that never happened. Never happened. If you say anything, I'm going to deny it. Never happened. Never happened. What are you talking about? I didn't drink. I didn't invite you over for drinks. Now, Slaton's attorney, of course, denied the claims, and we don't know if they're true or not, since they are still allegations that are being investigated. But here's Slaton attorney Patrick Short in a statement to the Texas Tribune saying, "We are aware of the outrageous claims circulating online by second-tier media that makes false claims against Representative Slaton. As a result, he has been advised to forward all inquiries in this matter, including any that may relate to a possible complaint, to his legal counsel." Now, Texas Republican House Speaker Dade Phelan said his office would look into the allegations. I'm not entirely sure if that'll be the case because it is Texas and Texas Republicans. Honestly, the Texas House has had quite a few scandals involved. Quite a few members specifically that have had some pretty heinous allegations against them involving sexual impropriety. So I don't entirely know how hard they'll be investigating this particular case, these allegations. But here's her statement anyway. Texas House does not tolerate misconduct or any other inappropriate behaviors and takes all allegations related to these issues seriously. I expect this matter to be addressed in a swift and thorough manner under the rules governing our chamber for the 88th Legislature and all applicable standards of conduct. Now, again, according to the Texas Tribune, allegations of sexual misconduct have cast a long shadow at the Capitol with little oversight of workplace conduct and frequent attempts to downplay such behavior or sweep it under the rug. So my guess is, and I can't say for certain, but I'm guessing that, oh yeah, no, it's going to be addressed very, very quickly, swift and thorough. Under the rug you go with the rest of them. How big of a rug do you have? I mean, there's only so much that you can hide. That rug's got to be like 10 feet tall by now, with all the crap that they're shoving on it, under it. But again, to be fair, these are all allegations. Nothing's been adjudicated or proven, and I got to be clear about that. Okay, but look, let's go on to some hypocrisy, right? So this guy who's 45 does not look 45. Guy looks like he's 65. Age did not treat him well. So if he was messing around, or, trying to mess around with his not so legal drinking age intern, what exactly would that be like? What would you call something like that? Again, older man in a position of power and a young woman. Well, we could go to a quote here. This is just to the grooming, the sexualization of our children. This comes down to decency, morality, and ethics. And children should not be the object of your sexualization, your desires. Does that sound similar? Does that sound like this could be that situation? Kind of. And that quote, of course, is from Bryan Slaton. And yes, I'm aware of the fact that she has to be at least 18. But again, he's much, much older and has a position of authority. And so this either is a gross abuse of his power or could also be considered grooming. I don't know how long they've known each other. But back to Slaton's quote here. So he had made that quote on, during a discussion on drag shows. Because of course he did, right? In fact, Slaton had spent more than a year denouncing all ages drag performances, and last month introduced a bill to ban drag shows from having children in attendance. Again, even the ones that are just, not explicit. In the wake of these erotic drag performances sweeping our state, I committed last year to funding legislation that would stop this disgusting practice in the presence of children. This state has a duty to protect children from being sexually exploited, and HB 4129 is the most comprehensive bill to stop the sexualization of kids by these performances. Now, you might want to stop the sexualization of your interns. Allegedly. I'm just saying, you might want to look a little closer if you want to stop, if you want to stop exploitation, sexual exploitation. Okay? Look, even if you don't want to call it grooming, as I said before, can we at least agree that it's pretty effed up using your, again, position of authority over your subordinate to what I assume, and I think what everybody else assumes, is to try to get some sort of sexual favor, if not sex itself. I'm just saying.
Sexual anarchy.
It's possible. Very possible. Let's not pretend that that does not happen. So, now, it also should be noted that Slaton did file for divorce from his wife of 5 years back in April of 2022, according to court filings. But interestingly, in November, agreed to cease the divorce. So, technically, they're still married. But that might change. I'm just saying. Oops. Now, also, according to his website, just an interesting little fun fact. He has previously worked as a youth pastor. Red flags. They're everywhere. Flags everywhere. Big red ones. Why is it always people in the church? Now, what's his response? His response was to get the F out of there. Look, recently, well, let's just start out by saying this. he might as well have his portrait on a milk carton. Because this guy is going. Slaton ended up missing, according to the Texas Tribune, one of the most important days of the legislative session on Thursday. That's when the Texas House debated their budget. So that's kind of a big effing deal. Because, especially to him, because guess what? On that budget, he had proposed 27 amendments. Not one, not two, not three, 27 amendments. And then he decides not to show up? After this drops, oops, gone. I'm outie. Disappears. Coincidence? I think not. Again, we don't know if the allegations are true, but if they are, wouldn't be a surprise to me because, like I always say, when it comes to these kinds of people, every accusation is a confession.